I'm sure when you came to know of this, I don't know how you would have dealt with it.
It's like it's not something I've dealt with and it's over. It's sometimes you wake up angry and sometimes you wake up shocked and sometimes you wake up in disbelief. You just keep oscillating between these. Instead of taking it out as anger or toxicity, I feel on social media, just we should completely change that into hope and celebration of his life.
Welcome, Sanjana. This Dilvicara is your debut film. There is so much love the film has received, but then we don't have Sushant with us today. So what are your thoughts just days before the film comes out?
Jyoti, I don't know. My thoughts are really muddled right now. Um, I I've never released a film before. I've never released you only release your debut film once. And I think I had very different visions of how I would be doing it. It wasn't supposed to be like this over Zoom in a pandemic. Neither was it supposed to be without Sushant. So dealing with the loss of a friend and launching your film is both, while one is my greatest achievement in my life that I'm so proud to bring to the world, the other is one of the worst sort of gutting tragedies that I've had to face in my life yet. So just really confused, honestly, and in the middle.
In fact, life and death is an important part of your film also. Dilvicara deals with celebrating life in face of, insurmountable odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you, this conversation of life and death, how did you guys deal with it? Or how did you approach it when you were making the film?
So I think you said it correctly that like every film has a heart and has a core, and the thing with Dilvichara is that it's all heart. It's a very simple actually but vulnerable story of these two people, and there's no fluff, right? There's nothing else really. Like there were no fancy clothes that I had to wear or big action sequences that we had to do. So both Sushant and I knew that really it's about what the honesty we try to bring to Manny and Kizzy. And that was also the most fun challenge for us as artists, because I remember for me that 1 month of workshopping and reading with Sushant that we did together. After 8-9 months that I had done acting workshops at the National School of Drama and trained with Mukesh for months and learned Bengali as well. But I brought all of that, and when I started doing it with Sushant finally, we discovered so much and we unraveled so much, because he brings a whole new perspective to his characters. We've seen that. That's how he was able to create a Dhoni and then create Kaipoche and then now create Emmanuel Rajkumar. And because he and I are a little similar, I think we're both pretty studious and we both love reading. So I would bring my own perspective, and then when those would come together, it would make us really happy. So that joy of creating that, for me, is the most special sort of memory from the whole process.
As you said, there was a lot of work you put in even before the first day of shoot. So were you prepared? How was that first day when you actually had to do it in front of
I had done more than my fair share of preparation, so to say. I mean, even my producers and director by the end of it were like, there is nothing more than now you can do. Now it's all about just getting down to set. But that's the thing with finally getting to set, is that it's a whole, how much ever you may prepare for it, it's just a new challenge of its own kind. Because when you have to day after day for 15 hours at a stretch emotionally expel yourself and make yourself vulnerable, it's only adrenaline and passion that's driving you actually, because normally it's just not possible. Like when I think back to my days being Kizzy, I get almost stressed out because it was such a high adrenaline process. So set brought with it a lot of unforeseen challenges, but I think the fact that I want to tell more stories means that I guess I enjoy them a lot,
You just said that, you guys are so similar. You and Sushant, you are studious, you are articulate, and self-confessed nerds. So how was the process like? Were there like impromptu quizzes happening on the sets?
Too many. So the thing is that, I mean, with with a creative partnership, and with the thing is that he is an actor beyond excellence. Like I hold him in the highest regard, just everything aside, as an artist. And as a senior actor, you have every right to make a new actor, so to say, feel that they know lesser than you, feel that they're new to this, you know better. But he never let me feel that even once, and he was so generous with his help, and also humble in his craft. So I was just firstly in awe of that. So along with that generosity came the competition, which is that how much has Sanjana prepped, or he would try to get my team to like transfer my script to him so that he can see the notes I've made. So we were very competitive, and I think that's what made it fun. We were competitive about how many samosas can you eat, to how much have you prepped. So it was very widespread.
We all know Sushant through his films. I may know him as an actor, as a star, but as a person, how was he? And there are always that moment when somebody's personality actually shines through. So if you can remember any such moments, any such anecdotes.
Thing is that I think a lot of people talk about Sushant's charm. Like I hear that a lot, that he was very charming. But the thing that I used to find charming about him was this childlike excitement that he had for performing. Because it's not easy to come every day and be that excited. Like, of course, you're grateful that you're an actor, you're grateful you're getting to tell stories, but to bring it every day means that it really makes you happy. So for me, that generosity and that childlike excitement was the his like my he stole my heart right there, because that was similar between him and Manny as well. Manny is that kind of character. Like when he saw Kizzy and decided to love her, he loved her fully. There was no in the middle. So with Sushant as well, even though he was an introvert, but when he chose his people, then you're there to stay, kind of thing.
So I'm curious: is the film completely honest to John Green's work, or do we see certain changes?
So the thing is that I was that 16-year-old excited teenager when the film came out. I had bunked school, I remember, and gone to watch the film. And I consider John Green's novel like a modern classic almost. So when Mukesh sir told me for the first time that, listen, I am making my directorial debut with the Hindi adaptation of The Fault in Our Stars, and I want to audition you for the female lead as the Indian Hazel Grace. I was like, I was like, oh wow, will we be able to do this? Is this the right thing to do? But then when he handed me that script, which Suprotim and Shashank Khaitan have written, Jyoti, like every sort of doubt that I had, or any pressure that I knew I would have felt, went away, because they picked up the soul of The Fault in Our Stars, the heart of it, but then they sort of just spread it and sprinkled it in the Indian cultural context, in Jamshedpur. So Kizzy and Manny have the heart of Augustus and Hazel, but they have a life of their own too. And once I read it, that's when I also realized the power of the written material. It clears all your doubts. So then I didn't feel any pressure. I was nervous between that auditioning phase for sure, though.
Also with Sushant, were you connected after the film shoot got over? How did the relationship go beyond the film?
So the film was like you said, it's what connected us. It's where we met, and it's where we discovered each other. But through the film, I knew that in him there's a friend that's always going to have my best interest at heart, and also a friend whose choices and perspectives I trust. So I knew that whenever I'm confused about a script that I want to do, or anything, any issue that I may have, I knew I'm going to run it by him. And I do a lot of work in the humanitarian sector since my university days, and even he really, really felt for education. So he would constantly be asking me, what are you up to now? He would see some updates on social media. We would brainstorm together. So there was just a lot of normal interaction that, two colleagues, two friends have. things about the future and how to release this film and exciting stuff, basically.
You are talking about him as somebody who's full of life, who's so curious, so inquisitive about the world out there. And the whole thing about depression, I'm just like talking out aloud. It's so hard to kind of, put both of these things together. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm sure when you came to know of this, I don't know how you would have dealt with it.
I don't think it's something that's in the past tense. Like, it's not something I've dealt with and it's over. I don't even think I've started to deal with it, because yeah, like I said, because when grief is new to you and tragedies aren't something you want to get used to either. So I think when this storm settles, it's going to come and hit me in different ways, because these days I sometimes you wake up angry and sometimes you wake up shocked and sometimes you wake up in disbelief. You just keep oscillating between these, so that healthy coping definitely hasn't started yet.
So Sanjana, there is so much love for the film. There is also anger. People are invested. There's anger also. So, what is your take on this? What do you want to tell the fans?
Ma'am, I want to tell them that I am as much a fan of Sushant's as they are, and it's just that along with being a fan, I think I also got this opportunity to be his creative partner and a friend, and I think it's just it's a blessing that we have a labor of all of our love, which has him coming out, where people can see his last, but in my humble belief, his finest work. They can celebrate him, and we owe it to him to convert the hurt and the grief and these like almost sea of negative emotions that we're feeling, instead of taking it out as anger or toxicity I feel on social media. Just we should completely change that into hope and celebration of his life, because I think that's justice, and I think it's the least that he deserves. And it's just a gift. It's really just a gift that we should embrace.
Best wishes for your film. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Odi.